What's up, guys? This is one I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. Finally just going to let you know and kind of let you know what I've been thinking and my aspect and the way I think on this fishing stuff nowadays. I'm only 21, just turned 21 years old, and the fishing world is way more complicated than what I thought it was, 6, 7, 8 years ago just watching it on TV. It's a lot more goes into it than just going out there fishing and having a good time, which is what I try to do my absolute best of, is just go out there, have fun, enjoy the time of being able to fish for a living. But there's a lot of things that go into it, man. There's a lot of things that go into it. Number one is the cost of the fishing. And a lot of people already know that, but until you really do it, you really don't understand the cost of what it costs to go out there and for a year of fishing and travel around and do that. So, when I'm fishing, entry fees are $5,000 for a tournament. You got 6 tournaments, that's $30,000 right there. So you got $25,000 in other things that you're going to need for that season. You're going to need gas, you're going to need lodging, you're going to need food, you're going to need license. License are a huge deal. You spend $1,500, $2,000 a year on license everywhere you go. Then you have to buy map cards. That is very, very expensive. You have 4 graphs on your boat. You need a map card for just about 3 of them, for the most part. So that's $1,000. You're looking at about $65,000 by the time you're done with the year, just for one division, one thing that I'm fishing. And that's, like I said, that's 6 tournaments. Yeah, 6 tournaments. And that's about $65,000. Now, that's saying nothing happens. Nothing goes wrong with your truck. Nothing goes wrong with your boat. Last year, for example, I had a blown power head. So I'll let you do the math on that. That's about $20,000. And then the next day, I borrow somebody's boat in the tournament, and I blow their lower unit. It's one of those freaking nature things that I can't do anything about, but it just happened to happen. It was one of those times when you get in somebody's boat, something's going to happen. And it happened that day. That's one of the things in fishing that nobody ever sees. That thing, when that happened, I lost 1 day of practice, which is a huge deal when I'm fishing. It's very big, very, very big. You need every hour you can get on that water. These guys are so good that we're fishing against. You have got to be able to find everything you can find, every possible pattern. You need all the time you can get on the water. And I lost a day of practice that time, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. Then the day of the tournament, when I blew that guy's lower unit, I only got to fish till 11 o'clock. I had 11.5 pounds, come in, weigh in, sitting not too good after the first day. Then I come in with 14.5 pounds the next day, miss a check by 2 ounces. $10,000, just like that. And, I'm not saying I would have definitely got a check if I'd have been on a fish the rest of the day, but 4 more hours of fishing on the first day, I was catching some fish, and they weren't biting until the afternoon. So I definitely, and I'm definitely confident enough to feel like I would have got a check, which $10,000 is a lot of money. And that's something that nobody really sees, is what I went through that week, what happens to these fishermen, what goes on, how much maintenance we have to do on all our boats, all our trucks, everything like that. And you can do all you can do. You can prepare, you can do all you want to do, and stuff's still going to happen. It's just stuff that you can't control. But all that aside, man, I absolutely love the fishing big tournaments. There's nothing like going out there, 150 guys, and these guys are good fishermen. They're not just people that can't fish. And I know people are talking about people jumping in these tournaments and all that, which does, let's dive into that for a second, and I'll come back to what I was just talking about. But me personally, I just want to go fish. I just want to have a good time. I just want to fish against some of the best people there is and see what I got. Last year was my first year. I think I had a really good season. I really do. I finished, I believe it was 21st in the points overall and 5th or 6th in Rookie of the Year. And there was, I think, 50 rookies or something like that. But I was very, very pleased with the season. I never had a very bad finish. I think I had one finish that was like high 70s. And then, last year they paid 75 places. Or, not this year that I fished, but last year they paid up to 75 places, and I had one finish that was almost 80th, and the rest I had one finish that was, I think it was like 72nd, something like that, and then I had 250-somethings, and then I had, I had two 15th place finishes. So I would have got a check in every tournament but one last year. if they still paid 75 places like they did, which honestly, I'll give my honest opinion on this. I really do think that is something that should happen. You know, you're fishing against 150 of really good fishermen, and you have $5,000 on the line for every one of these tournaments and only paying 50 places. And this year they may not even be paying 50 places because there's not enough guys to even do that. And for me personally, you're spending $5,000, I at least think you should pay half the field. And most people may disagree with that and say, oh, well, you should just be good enough to win and get top tens and all that, which is great, which is my goal, which is what I want to do, which I'm very confident that I can do. But people don't realize how hard it is to get a top 50 finish in every one of these tournaments. It is very, very hard. So at least pay, half the field is my opinion on that side of things. And then when it comes to people jumping in the tournaments, I'm okay with, me personally on how I got in. I had like a 40th place finish, I believe. I had a 3rd place finish at Harris Chain, and then I had a not so good finish. I believe it was at Okeechobee, and I think I finished like 30 or something in points. And they needed a couple guys to fill the field, and I was fortunate enough to have a good enough season and ended up good enough in points where they asked me if I wanted to fish, and this was 2 years ago. So I decided I wanted to fish. I felt like I was good enough. It was what I've always wanted to do anyways. It was my goal. It was what I was trying to qualify for, and I had the opportunity to, so I took it, and I jumped in there, and I was pleased with how it went. First year I felt like it was going to be the hardest for me, nerve-wise, just, getting used to everything, just taking my time. But now I feel comfortable. I feel like I'm in the groove a little bit, and like I said, when it comes to people jumping in, I'm okay with that, but whenever it comes to letting the locals hop in the tournaments, just say we go to Eufaula, like we're going to Eufaula in May, and I heard through the grapevine that they let, 10 or 12 locals hop in the tournament that's just fishing Eufaula from Eufaula. Me personally, I don't agree with that. And it's not that I'm scared of locals hopping in. I will fish against locals 24/7. I don't care if it's me against 12 locals. I'll fish against them. But when it comes to us spending $5,000 for every tournament, and they just hop in for one tournament, spend $5,000. I don't agree with that, especially when you have points on the line and you're trying to qualify for the Bass Pro Tour. Things people don't realize, but you have 12 locals on the lake. A lot of people are going to find that sort of thing. So just picture, that local just fished that brush pile before I got there. He caught 2 5-pounders out of it. Well, I was pulling up there. Not saying I would have caught those 2 5-pounders, but if I did, that's going to do a lot for me in those points. But if he beats me there and he catches them, what's it going to do for him? It's just going to help him for that tournament, and that's it. So I look at it more as, what's it going to do in the long run? You know what I mean? I get 51st place. They pay 50 places. Well, you had 12 locals in the tournament. Every one of them finished in the top 20. Well, not trying to be a whiny baby here, but if they all finish in the top 20 and they just fished that one tournament and just hopped in it, I don't agree with that. I feel like you should at least have to fish 3 or 4 of the tournaments and not just be a local and hop in the tournaments. Like last year, for example, at Wisconsin, there was 10 locals in that tournament. Well, I finished 15th place, and every one of those locals caught them. I think there was like 5 or 6 locals in the top 10, and I finished 15th place. So just say those locals didn't hop in the tournament, I'd have got my first top 10, which is a lot of money on difference between 15th and 8th place. There's a lot of money. And I may have even finished higher than that. But all that aside, man, I just like to fish. I like to have a good time. I like to fish against people who, really deserve to be there. And I'm not saying these people jumping these tournaments don't deserve to be there, but I do think that when it's coming down to having to ask co-anglers that hopped in one tournament or fished one tournament that's 15 or 16 years old to fish what I'm fishing, that is, that's getting iffy. And nothing against MLF, but I just feel like there's got to be a better way around that. And I know they're probably trying their best to do that, but, man, I just feel like there's something they can do. And I feel like it's me personally, the money issue. We're fishing for $80,000 first place, which, don't get me wrong, is a lot of money. But it's been $100,000 for the past 15, 20 years. I think even longer than that. And we're fishing for $80,000 right now when everything is way more expensive than what it used to be. I feel like each tournament nowadays should be $150,000 first place, with what it costs, and you should be paying half the field every single tournament. We're paying $5,000. You got 150 guys fishing every tournament. Let me do the math on that real quick. Just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on what I think. And I know they have a lot of expenses that go on these tournaments, so don't get me wrong, but 150 times 5,000 is $750,000. And first place is $80,000, and they're paying 50 places, saying that the field's full. If the field's not full, that just goes down. So I just think there's a lot of money that could be being paid out that's not. And I'm not saying they're just keeping that. They're also using it for things on BPT, like team series, that sort of thing. But the reason I'm staying with MLF is because I just truly enjoy fishing how I'm fishing and what I'm fishing. I enjoy catching 5 bass, catching my 5 biggest bass, going out there, fishing for 5 bites, 5 big bites. I don't like going out there catching 12 inchers and seeing where that gets me. I like to go out there and fish for 5 bites and have a multi-day event and see how it turns out. That's the way I like to fish. And fishing against 150 guys is always exciting as well. Just because when you have a really good tournament, it makes you feel great because you know how hard it actually is. So that's kind of my thinking on it. Hopefully here in a couple of years, everything gets back straightened up. I don't want, I just hope fishing just gets back to normal. You know what I mean? I hope there's, 100 guys fishing this league, 100 guys fishing this league. Payouts are good. Payouts back in the days used to be unbelievable. There used to be $500,000 tournaments, $1 million tournaments. Forestwood Cup was $1 million at once. Now we're nowhere near that for first base. You know what I mean? And that's just, I hope the sport of bass fishing gets back going like it was, and I feel like it will. I just feel like we're in a tough time right now, but I feel like it will get back there. We'll just have to see how things shake out. But for me now, man, I just want to enjoy fishing. I want to fish what I enjoy and have fun with it. Just have fun at fishing at 21 years old, which I love to be able to do. It's what I've always wanted to do, so no complaints here really. Traveling across the world just about really, and just going out there having fun and seeing how big I can catch, or seeing how big a 5 bass I can catch and take to the scales. That's really what I love doing. And I hope everybody kind of feels the same way I do, which I know is not going to happen. But I just hope things settle back down. We get everything back in line with who's fishing what. But we'll just see how things shake out. Just kind of wanted to give my opinion on that. I know it's been a big talk, and yeah, man. Just kind of thought you guys may be interested in what I was thinking, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Just want to go out there, have a good time, and fish, and not think about all the drama behind it. Go out there. If I catch them, I catch them. If I don't, I don't. I'm going to try my hardest every single time. I'm going to practice my hardest every single time and see how it ends up. You know what I mean? So just kind of having fun with it, seeing how things go. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life is fish and guide on the Flint River. And that's just what I enjoy doing. And we'll just have to see how it shakes out after this year. But hope you guys enjoyed watching. Leave a like, leave a comment. Leave a comment on what you guys think. What do you think is going to happen? What's your opinion on it? I'd like to know. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.